don't know any bankers, do you?
Bankers?
I'm sorry, but if you're going to handle bank business, you're going to have to return to your home branch in Greenville, North Carolina.
Well said, banker man.
That's what I was told when I was trying to handle a bank transaction from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'll tell you how you can avoid this issue. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm Felix. Welcome to the Roaming Gomes. If you're just starting out on your full-time RV life, there is one banking issue that you're going to have to deal with, and not everyone will think of it. I know we didn't. I'm going to discuss this issue, what we did wrong, and how you can avoid it. And if you stick around till the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how you might be able to save some money at RV parks. Let's get to it. When we were in Greenville, North Carolina, which is where we started from, we had moved out of our sticks and bricks and we were staying in a small campground nearby. We did all of our banking through North Carolina State Employees Credit Union. Great bank. It's a credit union. It had great interest rates on loans and everything. Then we went on the road and we continued to do business with NCSECU. We were doing okay. No problems, no big deals. They were a little bit behind on their app, but that was fine. And then we got to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we were thinking about refinancing this RV. So right around the corner, we had a branch of SECU, State Employees Credit Union. It was New Mexico SECU. So we went there with the assumption that it was basically the same bank. That was not the case. We came to find out that NC, North Carolina, SECU, was not affiliated with any of the other state employee credit unions. They are an entity into and of themselves. So if we wanted to do the refinance on this RV through them, we would have had to fly back to Greenville, North Carolina, handle that business there, and fly back to Albuquerque, New Mexico. I don't think I have to tell you that really wasn't an option. So we started looking into other banks. And recently, here in Tucson, which was right after Albuquerque, we found PNC, which is the bank that we chose to go with. Now, I'm not saying that I'm endorsing PNC or any of that. We're not sponsored by them or any of that stuff. However, I mean, there are other national banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo immediately come to mind. But by doing that, we allowed ourselves to be able to make transactions no matter where we are. We established our bank account here in Tucson at the local PNC branch. If we go to Colorado or do a trip back to the East Coast, Greenville or Pennsylvania or some of the other places we've been, we will still be able to walk into a PNC bank anywhere and deal with them as though we were in our home branch. That was not the case with NCSECU. The next problem that we had was transferring our funds from NCSECU to PNC. Well, with North Carolina State Employees Credit Union being a local bank, they didn't have the ability to do a direct transfer from their bank to another bank. Any of these other national banks do have that option. What we were going to have to do here, if we wanted to close out our bank account, was both of us, because it's a joint account, would have had to go back to North Carolina, go into a local bank branch there, and close our accounts. That wasn't going to happen. So what we did was we moved all of our money, most of our money, into our joint checking account and wrote a check to PNC to open our account. Great, right? But what we weren't able to do was withdraw all of the money from what they call our share account. Cindy has one, I have one. In order to have an account at this credit union, you have to have this share account and you have to have $50 in there. We also weren't able to completely drain our joint checking account because that would have been closing the account, and you can't do that unless you're in person. So, back at North Carolina SECU, we still have $50 in Cindy's share account, $50 in my share account, and $30 in our joint checking account. So there is $130 that we may never actually be able to get unless we happen to make a trip back to North Carolina and we go right into a bank branch and we close the account out. And that is what I'm trying to teach today. Before you head on the road, before you engage in your full-time RV life, be sure that your bank is openly available wherever you're going. Not that you can walk into the bank branch, but you can only do a limited amount of transactions or so on and so forth. No. That you can walk into a bank branch anywhere in the country and it's like you're walking into the branch where you started your account. And those are going to be pretty much only the national banks, the big national banks. Now, I told you I was going to give you a bonus where you might be able to save some money in an RV park. When Cindy and I were in Fort Mill, South Carolina, Cindy's contract started on September 15th, 2021. Her scheduled end date of her contract was February 15th, 2022. However, we were not able to get into the RV park that we were going to in Pennsylvania until March 7th of 2022. That is 2 weeks, 3 days that we wouldn't have had a site in the RV park. Our reservation started on September 15th. Renewable monthly on the 15th of the month. So what we needed was an extra 2 weeks and 3 days beyond the February 15th end of our reservation. The RV park had no problem with that. Their view was that this site was ours until we were done with it. But to pay the weekly rates for 2 weeks and then the daily rates for 3 days actually added up to more than what we would have paid for our monthly reservation. Most RV parks, I'm not going to say all of them, but most RV parks offer highly discounted monthly rates in their parks. So what we ended up doing was taking another month from February 15th through March 15th. Yes, we weren't going to be there for 2 of those weeks, but we still saved money because we paid less by paying their monthly rate than we would have paid for paying 2 weeks at their weekly rate and 3 days at their daily rate. That's all I've got for this week. Listen, if you got anything out of this video, I would appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. It means a lot to me, and it would mean a lot to the channel. Until next time, I hope you can experience less worry and more wonder.